Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back to Wheel Takes. For us, it's been 30 seconds.
Welcome back to Wheel Tangents.
Yes. We just finished talking about all that stuff we talked about last week. If you skipped that episode, because it looked like it didn't advance the chapters, you should go back. It was pretty expansive conversation off of one fucking note, because that's who we are sometimes. I'm Gus. I've read all the Wheel of Time books.
And I'm Allie, and I talk a lot. And I am on book 8.
Yes.
Chapter...
Still 22.
Chapters.
This podcast only
and
contains...
we thought we wouldn't be releasing 2 Wheel of Time podcasts.
Lo and
the
behold,
next couple
Allie is not in town, and yet here we are. This podcast only contains spoilers for what Allie's already read, and that is still everything up to and including The Path of Daggers, Chapter 22. Hi, Allie.
Hi.
How are you? How's your
great.
voice?
Oh, I have to finish my notes.
Yeah, you know what? Why don't you... Here's... We have nothing new to report.
We can never criticize Robert Jordan for tangents ever again.
We just spent 2 hours talking about one line. So, nothing new to report. If you want to know where we left off, do you remember, Allie? We talked about it 2 hours ago, before we went on a tangent.
I don't identify with that person anymore.
3 days later, the first explosion came.
Yes, well, we don't get any of that.
No, we don't.
So
we're going to recap the notes that we started last week. We're going to zip through them.
we'll just move on. They heard them.
Okay, we're going to... All right, if you want to know the first half of the notes from last week... Actually, we stopped mid-note.
Oh, a secret third party is coming to Rand's head. And we'll never talk about it. Though I guess it's the fourth person in Rand's head, because Alana, so 3's a crowd. What's 4? Gus just said orgy.
Oh.
I guess I posed you that question. It's like, so if 3's a crowd, what's 4? And you said an orgy?
I
and
guess.
was like,
I don't know.
I mean,
a
if that's where the
cocktail
party's going. Rand seldom went around unprotected unless Min's around.
Oh my God.
How dare Rand roast Weiramon on a spit like this? Rotisserie Weiramon over here. Tell me why the word rotisserie just made my mouth water. Gus, what Pavlovian gluttony is this?
Rotisserie chickens are delicious.
Now I want a rotisserie chicken so fucking bad.
We can get that. They have them.
No, they're out everywhere. Every grocery store simultaneously went,
I hope
fuck
not.
chicken.
Fuck that. Oh my God. All right, go ahead.
The birds have shrilly cried. That's me shrilly crying for something to happen.
See, we make jokes like this, then we talk for 2 fucking hours about one line of text.
Gedwin, am I right?
Oh, you love this
because
guy.
I love Gedwin because he tried to kill Gawain and it was awesome.
watch, I'm going to eat my words so soon. Gedwin's going to suck so bad, isn't he?
Maybe.
Yeah, my taste in men is absolute shit.
Hey!
Wait, no, not you. I meant before you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. No, still.
You're my magic
Oh
unicorn,
my
and I
God.
held on to you and wouldn't
Stop,
let go.
stop. Okay. Oh my God.
I meant besides you. That's why I'm not allowed to date any men
Well,
ever
you're
again.
also married. And,
That is
you
also
know,
true.
and we're monogamous.
Ah!
That's also a factor.
I've been digging myself into a hole right before Valentine's Day. I've been looking to get a divorce
Oh my God.
right before Valentine's Day.
Fun fact, both of my dad's divorces were finalized on Valentine's
They
Day.
were, yeah.
Isn't that so funny? Also tragic. Okay. I mean, if I were magic, I'd never clean a litter box again.
There's all these women like walking around doing, or all these men are doing everything with magic. And I was like, yeah, wouldn't you?
I would. This motherfucker just let the mulled wine cool on his desk, and that is the biggest war crime he's committed thus far. I am the worst person on the planet, but I'm really passionate about mulled wine.
It's
it makes
delicious.
me really upset that they would just...
It's really good.
Okay.
Narishma sounds like some kind of brand of Pedialyte or something like that. Like,
Yeah, it does, actually. What's Pedialyte, Allie?
it's like a drink that people drink for like vitamins. I don't fucking know.
I don't really know either.
I don't have children. I have heard allegedly that it really helps you with a hangover.
That's what I've heard.
But I've heard that about a lot of drinks. And I think some of it just might be like your brain
Take 2
wanting to
egg
find
yolks and shove them up your ass.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's not a thing. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Though allegedly it helps. I've never tried. Because
We
you know
can't
what?
say.
The last thing I want to do when I'm hungover is get my ass up, walk to the store, and get Pedialyte.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I will sit in bed and just also be on a boat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm so mad Narishma's back because that means that my theory is wrong.
Which theory?
That he is going to go free the Aes Sedai from bondage.
Yeah, it seems like he's not doing that. But he's got a thing.
If
He brought a
could
thing.
suggest an edit.
We brought a thing.
He brought a thing.
It's a thing. Rand wanted this thing.
What is the thing?
It's the thing.
Is the thing.
He's got it. What do you think it is?
It's an ominous, mysterious object. Could it be some kind of Angreal, Terangreal, Sangreal?
Do we have any of those that we know about that are long and
Did
could
this
fit in a
motherfucker
tube?
go get Kalendor?
Maybe.
If this motherfucker went and got Kalendor after that, like, he who comes behind shall fall... shall follow after.
Well, hey, if he did get Kalendor, think of it this way.
After all my speculation about who was
Think
going
of
to
it
get
this
Kalendor,
way,
this
Allie.
is what we do?
Rand went to this part of... He went to Ilion, and then he sat there, and he was like, damn, Narishma's taking his sweet fucking time. And then sometime after, Narishma followed him.
No!
I'm not saying it is Kalendor, but if it
There
is...
was water dripping down my face because I was so
really did.
outraged by that. This is... I scared the dog. Get me a pen. Get me some paper. I'm writing Harriet right now. This is crap.
Oh, man.
This is... I am suing... I'm... Where... Call someone.
What if
Call someone.
what if it's
Who do we call?
what if it's not what if it's like Rand left his sand wedge in a bunker? He's got to hit the links. Da 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 da. Wii Sports.
What? I am dumbstruck. This is what has happened.
I'm not saying it is.
Dumbstruck. I am bereft. I am bereaved at the hours that I have spent sitting there, looking at nothing, thinking about this fucking prophecy. I'm shoving my water bottle in your face.
She's poking me with it.
You did this. You started this series with me. You in that grocery store that day, you said, read this series. It's so good. It's the best series ever. And then it does this to me. Why must you plague me so? It's a really good series. what? No.
Maybe it's not Kalendor. Maybe it's
It's Kalendor.
What if it's a sword? It could just be a sword.
I'm scaring the dog. Petey, you have to know by now. Schooner got so used to me creating a scene, he never even looked up. Petey's leaving.
He's getting off the couch.
Petey's uncomfortable.
He's done with this.
You know what? Me too, Petey. Petey represents us all right now. He is fleeing the scene. Petey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean you scare. I didn't mean you scare, Bubby. You know what? Schooner was so used to me and my antics, he wouldn't even look up. Like, I could be bleeding out on the floor and he'd be like, Mom's histrionics again. But this is an outrage.
It might not be Kalendor.
He's fled to you.
He has come to my side
He
of the
wants
couch.
to know whether or not I am sane.
It might not be Kalendor, but it might be.
You know
Kalendor.
what the real taint is? This series. It plagues
You
my
don't
consciousness.
mean that.
I was once so grounded.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't. But look at him. He's like, Father, has Mother lost her mind? Okay. You'll get used to it very soon.
It also doesn't preclude that maybe Narishma, if Narishma got Kalendor, maybe he does some cool shit later.
No. Everything is ruined.
Yeah.
All those hours I spent. Oh, he must be the guy in Shiogul with Kalendor's got to all right, now we got to talk about how Kalendor is going to factor into bringing Rand back.
We can't do it again. We can't.
Kalendor heals the taint. No.
I was talking online about there's no chapters this week, and someone said, so you went from we're gonna do 4 chaps to we're gonna do 2 chaps to we're just gonna talk about shit and not do any chaps.
Hey, we're
yes,
just reflecting the slog. Wheel Takes has its own slog.
Yeah. Welcome to our slog. We're trying to stay on brand. All right, you have more notes. I think you do.
Oh, do I?
Yes.
Fuck. Hold on, sorry, I'm drinking my self-care water bottle. I destroyed the world, and you can too. Anything is possible if you believe in yourself.
Oh, Lucy.
Can Rand please stop death-threatening people? It's not a cute look for him. He does need to be liked a little.
Yeah.
I love that Petey's like, with you now. He's like, Mom's lost it.
This.
I'm done with her. Narishma's package had been rewrapped. I just wrote that down. I think that was a quote from the book.
It was, yes.
I think I thought it was funny. Can we please stop trusting Deshiva? He's obviously a Forsaken. He's the most Forsaken fuck that is ever Forsaken. Like, they're like, we should do some kind of very specific magic thing. And he's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, how the fuck would you know, farm boy? How the fuck would you know what we can and can't do? Oh no. It was something like, someone said something in the old tongue. And he's like, in the old tongue, that means this. And I'm like, suspicious. Why? Because that's your first language? Fuck you.
Chapter 21, answering the summons. Rand, chap, dragon in the box. There it is. There he is. Big dick dragon over here. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. For us, we're like 2.5 hours into this episode, so it's just getting weird.
We've had a really also like intense week.
We have, yes.
So I think the two of us have also just descended into some new plane of mental something.
The great winter tempests called the Cimaros continued to roll up out of the sea of storms, harsher than any in memory. Some said this year...
I've lived in Chicago, too.
Some said this year the Cimaros was trying to make up for the months of delay. Lightning crackled across the skies, enough to make the darkness patchy at night. Wind lashed the land, and rain flailed it, turning all but the hardest roads to rivers of mud. Sometimes the mud froze after nightfall, but sunrise always brought a thaw, even under a gray sky, and the ground became bogs once more. Rand was surprised at how much all that hampered his plans. Alright, so the weather fucking sucks, but in a more appropriate for the season way, because it's like February.
Yeah.
And we're in Alabama, but with mountains.
Yeah.
Does Alabama, is that in Appalachia?
I find it very relatable that people are complaining about
Bree,
the
let me
hot
know.
and the cold.
Oh, I love it.
I, too, complain about the weather constantly.
When I lived in Michigan, it would be too cold in the morning and too hot in the mid-afternoon and then too cold again in the morning. So what's going on, Allie? What's the haps?
Okay. So
what's the good
haps
word?
Are...
Who is this people that was the summonsed? That's not how fucking words work.
Who were the peoples that were the summons?
Who got summoned?
Narishma?
Bunch of Ashaman.
That's what it was.
A bunch of Ashaman roll up. Big, juicy gateway. Fat white flakes swirling about thickly and hiding what lay behind them.
You're going to scare the dog
I'm
again.
sorry. Here come the Ashaman. Everything's great. They're staying dry. Their commander, Charles Gedwin, was a few years older than Rand.
Gedwin! #1 fan.
Gedwin termed himself Sorvan Mikhail. In the old tongue, Storm Leader. Whatever that was supposed to mean.
Okay, I think we should investigate further into what is going on with the Ashaman.
So it's raining like fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. Gedwin goes, how do you expect me to find anyone in this?
Find anyone?
My Lord Dragon. Rochade and I brought...
That took too long.
It said a tick late, he added my Lord Dragon. Rochade and I brought 8 dedicated and 40 soldiers, enough to destroy an army or cow 10 kings. We might even make an Aes Sedai blink. Burn me, the pair of us could do a fair job alone. Or you could. Why do you need anyone else? And Rand is like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the part where it is totally standard practice in this military organization to tell the person in charge that he's a fucking dumbass. I forgot that that's just what we do now.
Okay, but here's the thing. You have done almost nothing to assert your authority over the rest of the class.
He showed up once.
No.
And he said, hey.
And it was like a weird speech. It
hey,
was
everybody.
A weird speech.
How you doing? The Ashman who are with him seem to like him pretty well.
Yeah, because they're around him 24 hours a day. Rather than him who just rolls up as like, death is inevitable, and then pops out. Like, I would not follow death is inevitable guy.
Storm Leader and Manel Rashid, Gedwin's second, called himself Baijan Mihail, Attack Leader. What was Taim up to creating new ranks? Well, the important thing was that the man made weapons.
Well, let's ignore it entirely. I think that's the move.
The important thing was that the weapons stayed sane enough, long enough to be used.
That is not the important thing. The important thing is that we like figure out that the weapons are being used properly and like trained properly. Oh my god, I'm so stressed out right now.
And I know that it's not going to come to fruition until like book 9, but this is going to be bad.
So Gedwin leaves.
Not book 9, book 12.
Gedwin and Rashid and the other Ashman go out to find something. What are they looking for?
More magic men?
No, it's all those... Remember all those people who were like kind of in rebellion against Rand, but also maybe now they're not?
Uh-huh.
They're going to go find them.
Well, that's not going to end well.
That's the whole...
They're going to pop them.
The whole premise of this chapter is they're going to be like, hey, we're good now. Come fight for the Lord Dragon.
Or we'll pop you like a berry.
Perhaps, yes. But they're like, hey, don't worry about it. Come on out.
If it were me, I'd be like, bullshit. No way.
So Gedwin leaves and...
Am I wrong? Like, we watched The Last of Us last night, and it was like the group, and this is not a spoiler. It's just, it like happens immediately, but they're like out and about going like, all the people that collaborated with Fedra, like, come out. Like, it's cool. You'll get a fair trial. And I'm like,
no, they fucking won't.
Shit, you'll get a fair trial.
So Gedwin walks off. Rand wondered whether the man suspected how close he'd come to dying when he seized Saidin without warning. You must kill him before he kills you, Lews Therin giggled. They will, you know. Dead men can't betray anyone, but sometimes they don't die. Am I dead? Are you?
Wait. This seems important.
Well, he's perhaps talking about himself.
Well, yeah, but I mean, listen, I'm not advocating for the murder of all the Ashman, obviously. But Lews Therin is not giggling every time like Narishma shows up. He's getting a bad vibe.
Rand pushed the words down to a fly's buzzing. Since his reappearance,
you could say he caught a vibe.
Lews Therin seldom went silent unless forced. That voice invaded Rand's dreams, and when he saw himself in a dream, it was not always himself at all that he saw. It was not always Lews Therin either. The face he had come to recognize as Lews Therin's. Sometimes it was blurred, yet vaguely familiar, and Lews Therin seemed startled by it too. Anyway, we could talk about that for 2 hours, but we did. And then, so Rand is like, all right, here we go. Fucking action time. And this is the point where you said, oh, I think that this is the central plot of this book.
Yes.
Is this campaign to sweep Sean Chan back to San Diego.
Oh, Sean Chan. So, yeah, I think he personally would like to send Sean Chan on a one-way ticket back to California. I don't feel like this is going to... Like, I think our expectation is like, all right, we're going to kick their booties and they're going to leave, or we're going to kill them all, and then we'll focus on the last battle.
Right.
I think that we need all of humanity's efforts in this. So my thing, I'd be like, okay, we all need to work together, obviously. Stop enslaving people, and I'll make sure that you don't fucking die.
That'd be good. Good move.
I think that's a fair trade. No?
I think that's a completely fair trade.
And stop your weird, scary expansion colonizer bullshit.
While Rand was idly watching men fold his tent onto a high-wheeled cart, Weiramon appeared on one of his many horses. I like to believe that this means Weiramon has 6 horses side by side, that he has all connected, and he's just riding on one of them, but he's got 6 horses with him at all times.
I love that.
I know that's not what's happening, but I just like to believe that's what's happening. A prancing white gelding of the finest Tyrant blood stock. So
Bloodstock creeps me out. Anyway, something about that.
So then Rand like thinks about people and Illianers, and he thinks about fairly. He thinks about the political thing with Tyrants and Illianers, and yeah, all right.
Everyone's frustrating.
So Weiramon comes up and goes, "My Lord Dragon, I cannot express how happy I am to see you guarded by Tyrants, my Lord Dragon. Surely the world would weep if anything untoward happened." He was too intelligent to come out and call the companions untrustworthy. By a hair, he was. And Rand is like, yeah, no, you'd be really fucking sad if I fucking died, Weiramon. I know you're my #1 fan, aren't you?
Oh, Rand's gonna die.
The fellow actually preened, stroking the point of his gray-streaked beard. Yes, my Lord Dragon, you can be assured of my constancy, which is why I'm concerned by the orders your men brought me this morning. Wise of you to send away most of the Kyrianan and the Illianers, of course, that goes without saying. I can even understand why you limit Gwayam and the others. I do believe some of them, I wouldn't say plotted against you, but I think perhaps their loyalty has not always been without question, as mine is. Without question.
Why are you such a butthole? Am I wrong?
Rand is like, you really want to be King of Tyr, don't you? In his head, allow me to bring all of my armsmen, my Lord Dragon. With them and the defenders, I can assure the honor of the Lord of the Morning and his safety. And Rand is like, I hate this fucking guy. And he looks at like 55 lords and ladies, and I'm not gonna get into their names because do you want to?
No.
All right, so here's a bunch of Illianers, and Rand is like, I hope I'm not fucking up politically. And Rand is like, anyway, Weiramon, really good of you to worry about me so much, but maybe, whatever. It's not like I'm gonna go start a war or anything.
I never meant to start a war. Do something.
So they chat for a minute, and then he kicks Weiramon out. Rand makes a gateway, but now whenever he sees a Sidene, something happens. What happens?
He gets sick.
He gets really dizzy and really sick. What's going on?
He had gluten.
What do you think's going on with this, though?
The taint's getting worse.
Okay, you think this is a function of the taint?
Wait. 2-hour pause. What if it has to do with Moradin also? Because this didn't start until now. Because he got like a really weird headachy thing. And he just assumes it's the taint, but really it's like Moradin in his brainy brain.
Could be. If that's what's happening.
I think that's what's happening.
His sight also doubles.
Oh! You read me that passage. Where he saw double of himself and double of Moradin after he channeled. Oh, it's definitely that. That's what's happening.
Does that matter?
Does it matter? If you puke like a prego every time that you channel, you're fucked. What are you going to say to your opponent? Like, sorry, hold on, got to puke really fast.
That's
I'm going to boot and rally.
So 3,000 dudes go through the doorway with Rand.
What's he going to do? Puke then magic it away? Get it?
That's funny.
Took you a second.
Tyrants and Kyrianan and Illianers, defenders of the stone under Tahira, and companions under Markalin, Ashaman healing Gedwin. The Ashaman who had come with him, anyway. Tashiva and Flynn and the rest kept their horses close behind Rand. All but Narishma. Narishma had not come back yet. I guess that means he has to follow after, Allie. Narishma had not come back yet.
No.
The man knew where to find him, but Rand did not like it.
No, Rishma.
So we get like 55 more names, and again, the impetus and gist of what's going on here is that there's still tribalism going on, and people still don't really trust each other.
Yep.
And that's good.
Same shit, different day.
Yep.
Wait.
Yes,
I was
yes,
going
yes,
to
go
say
ahead.
something, and now I forget. Oh, as if Rand weren't like already so scary. Now he's like exorcism, like spewing all over the place.
Yeah. We're going to pause real quick for some ads. Welcome back. All right.
I'm just saying that considering what Mazrim Taim does to men who start acting weird, he shouldn't be drinking any wine that anyone is giving him.
Good point. So
Maybe that's how Rand dies. Mazzy Pizzazz just slips him something in his wine.
that would be fucked up. So Rand makes a gateway to Ilion, and everyone rides through, and he's looking at everyone, thinking about them, and, calculating, and then he looks at Weiramon, and he goes, and Weiramon was a fool. Left to his own devices, he might well try to gain the Lord Dragon's favor by marching an army against the Shanshan, or Murundi, or let alone knew who or where. Too stupid to leave behind, too powerful to shove aside, so he rode with Rand and thought himself honored. It was almost a pity he was not stupid enough to do something that would get him executed.
Holy fuck.
I know. The Weiramon slander hour over here.
Wow. All of a sudden.
It's intense. Sudden, intense
Rand is
loathing of Weiramon.
Sick of him.
Weiramon is Rand's BEC.
This is what happens whenever anyone stays at my house longer than a week. Like, this is my internal monologue. Because, I need to be with you, the dog, the cats, and literally no one else for more than, a week.
Yeah.
After a week, I start to, get a little, dark alley.
Allie, I said a minute ago, Weiramon is Rand's BEC. Can you elucidate for the listeners?
It's your bee eating crackers. So everything they do makes you angry. So you see them and you're like, look at this bee eating crackers. They own the place. Fuck you. Everything they do, even if they're just eating crackers, is irksome. I have a few people like that in my life. And I know you do.
Oh, yeah.
So because my favorite thing is when Gus will be like, do you see their Instagram post today? And I'm like, no, because they annoy me, so I don't follow them. Why do you follow them? It makes you angry every time. But what was it? What was the thing I was going to say? Shit. It was related. Oh, with the Weiramon stuff, he's suddenly taken a very dark turn with Weiramon, hasn't he?
Very sudden. Before he's like, oh, this guy's such a dumbass.
So,
now he's like, I wish I could just chop his fucking dick and balls off.
So you're telling me that this is probably completely unrelated to the whole Moradin thing, or
I don't know. It could be.
I don't know. You've got an insidious little cockroach in your head.
Egan Pedros is here. Remember him?
Who?
Egan Pedros.
No.
It's Egan Pedros.
I don't. Oh,
Egan
God,
Pedros.
please.
Remember, we just met him.
Who
He's
is
that
Egan
dude who was like, hey, man, we're kind of scared of you, and we don't really want to follow you. And Rand was like, well, follow me or go home. Otherwise, I'll punch you squarely in the ass. Left cheek.
I feel...
And then he's like, okay, we'll follow you.
I feel that Rand...
And then next chapter, he tries to shoot Rand.
Yes, that was fucking inevitable. What?
And Rand's like, he's got $30 on him.
Would
and everyone
you
is
not...
like, yeah.
Okay, this is Egan, whatever his face is. This is Jennifer Egan's perspective. Jennifer Egan, the novelist.
Yeah.
No, so Egan's like, all right, we have the choice to potentially follow this guy. I wouldn't believe, based on Rand's behavior, that if I were like, okay, I'm going home, he'd be like, that's chill. Okay, think about he seems like to everyone else, like Kathleen in The Last of Us. Do you think if you were like, hey, Kathleen, this sucks, I'm going home, that she'd be like, yeah, fine? No, she'd pick up a machine gun and shoot all of you. Am I wrong?
Probably not.
Yeah. So you basically, because you're scary as shit, have given them the option of, okay, follow me and potentially get blown up by me when I'm not feeling nice, or get blown up by me right now.
Especially because...
So your only option in your cerebellum at that point is, I gotta kill this guy, otherwise I'm fucked.
This is, by the way, another testament to Robert Jordan's really good point of view writing, because Rand has driven all of the other POV characters away. Mm-hmm. So we're only seeing his descent through his eyes. So to him, it's completely reasonable.
Yeah, but
I
if you think about it from Egan's perspective, you're like, oh, fuck. Well, either he kills me now, he kills me later, or I kill him. This is why Rand needs to stop death threatening people, laughing to himself, and then exorcist puking everywhere.
Do you remember when Rand when Egan talked to Rand, what Egan's concerns were. He had like two things. He was like, we're really kind of worried about these two things. He's like, man,
you're laughing to yourself and you're puking and you're constant death threatening.
Said, man, look, we're kind of sweating over here because like there's Aiel reaving through the countryside, and there's Dragonsworn reaving through the countryside, and like those are your boys.
And Rand's like, they're not my fucking boys.
Is like, they're not my boys. The other Aiel, those are my boys.
I'm dealing with them.
Fuck those guys. Those aren't my boys.
And not only fuck those guys. Fuck you for thinking that.
Fuck you for saying those are my boys. I'm gonna punch you in the asshole.
And then he's like, hey, so they're going around though saying that they're your boys. So like, what do you want me to think?
Yeah. You have 5 minutes to decide if you're on my side. And then he's like, oh, okay.
And he's like, okay, I guess. And then he starts following him. And this guy starts like talking to himself, laughing to himself about nothing. He's puking everywhere and death threatening him every 5 minutes. I would fucking try to shoot him too.
Admittedly, he's not showing people the puking as best he can.
As best he can.
Well, he stops channeling in public. Also, another thing is about his next chapter.
Okay, so, but he must have figured out, it must have taken a couple times before he realized that channeling makes him puke.
Well, next chapter, by the way, Eilil Ryoton and someone else are like, you wouldn't make us go to the front, right? We hear you have like this really big hang up about killing women. And Rand is like, what? You know? Who else knows?
Well, for all we know, he's saying the list out loud.
I think he is. Sometimes.
And again, were I Egan, I would have shot at him too. Like, he's scary. He's a scary man. And him being like, I need to be scarier. I'm like, no, you need a PR person immediately or people are going to keep trying to kill you. People who are good people. Like, Egan is not a bad guy.
No.
He's just like, the only option that is available to me at this moment is to murder this man because he's scary, pukey, death threat, list sayer McGee.
And he keeps laughing.
Why is he laughing?
All the time he's laughing.
It's like following the girl from The Exorcist. Next, he's going to be crab walking down the stairs.
So their leader was the runny-nosed man Rand had spoken to on the edge of the woods, Egan Pedros by name, and much brighter than he looked.
Oh, he's probably runny-nosed because he's been in the woods for a while, and it's fucking winter.
It was difficult for a commoner to rise very far most places, but Rand had marked Pedros out. So here's the other sad thing. Rand really likes this dude. Rand's like, this guy's sharp. I like him.
You could have told him that. No wonder he tried to murder you. I would have tried to murder you too. I probably would have been more subtle about it, considering that you're magic. But like, I would have been like, okay, it's either me or him.
So the gateway to Ilion and Weiramon is like, time to charge. And Rand is like, no.
Jesus.
No, time to check, not time to charge or cash.
I wish that the desire to charge filled my brain as much as his because my iPhone has been dead for like
I bought you a charger.
Years.
It was a really cute one.
I don't think about it until it's too late. And then here we are.
So we make camps. Fedwin Moore goes off. Remember Fedwin Moore?
Who?
He's an Ashaman. He's the one who was like
Fedwin Moore.
He's the one who was he's the one who was talking to Rand. And he's the one who told Rand about the whole, like, he's young, as I recall. And he's the one who told Rand, like, Mazrim makes us drink poison when we go crazy, and it's actually not that bad. And then he got really somber, and Rand was like, hey, dude, it's going to be okay.
I know, killing women is hard. Like
that was Eben.
Oh, okay.
Fedwin was the one who was like, hey, hi, I'm here now, and I don't feel so good about the whole people going crazy thing.
Now he's going to go crazy, isn't he? Because there's no hope.
Well,
me 1 episode ago. There's so much hope. And me this episode, there's no hope.
Do you think that's the logical path for Fedwin? Fedwin Moore? Because is that your...
I think it's possible. I think it's very possible. If that's where that's going. But here's the thing. Rand deserves to get shot. I am going to victim blame.
So Rand took to his tent as soon as it was pitched and sprawled fully clothed on his cot. There were bees embroidered on the inside as well.
You go into bed in your outdoor clothes? Oh, again, unhinged behaviors.
Hopwill brought a steaming pewter mug of mulled wine. Rand had left his servants behind, but the wine grew cold on his writing table.
The biggest tragedy that has happened in the book so far.
His mind worked feverishly. 2 or 3 more days, and the Shan-Chan would have been dealt a blow that knocked them on their heels.
I don't know if this says a bad thing about me, probably. I felt more about the fact that the mulled wine went cold than I did about Leah's entire plotline.
It's because you're a misogynist.
That's true. I hate women. No, come on.
Then it was back to Cairhien to see how negotiations with the sea folk had gone, to learn what Cadsuane was after. He owed her a debt, but she was after something.
Well, good news. Slavery.
Maybe. What?
The deal with the sea folk.
Oh, a different deal.
Oh, there's another deal?
This is the capital B bargain.
Remember? That not the bowl?
No. Rand sat down to make the bargain with the sea folk, and then he had a very, very
and then he broke
PTSD
their chair.
Trauma. I'm not making fun of that. And then he tore the chair open and was like, fuck this. You deal with it. And left.
Sure.
And Rand is now like, I'm in the habit of giving a fuck about the sea folk today.
All of a sudden.
So this whole Shan-Chan plotline thing, hopefully we can nip this bad boy in the bud. Hopefully we can just resolve this right here, right now. Fuck these guys.
Wouldn't that
I
be
expect
something?
this to be done within the next 50 pages.
Okay, so he's like me trying to write a to-do list. You know, I'm like,
oh my God.
like I'll decide in a day. I'm like, I will solve world hunger today. And then tomorrow I will deal with the, crisis in the Middle East. I like whatever it is. And then if I don't accomplish all the things on that list, I flagellate about it for like the rest of the day. So I'm not allowed to make to-do lists anymore. And my mental health has never been better.
So do you think...
Unrelated, obviously.
Do you think Rand's right? You think we're going to be able to nip this Shan-Chan thing in the bud?
I think he is like me trying to write a to-do list. And I think that he has unrealistic expectations for what he can accomplish in a book.
Had Caroline Damodred and Darlin Cisnera slipped away in the confusion?
The
High Lord Darlin in his hands might finish the rebellion in Tyr as well. Or if Matt and so Rand is like, there's a lot of plots going on right now. Could he cleanse Sidene? It might work. It might destroy the world to light. Where was Narishma?
I think... then the calendar is related to trying to cleanse Sidene for sure.
Loose there and gibbered at him. I skipped a line. Loose there and gibbered at him in stark terror, light, where was Narishma? But maybe it is.
I think so.
Do you think Calendar is involved in the plan?
Yeah, I do. I am so annoyed right now that's how that resolved. This is Couladin all over again. I thought that this is going to be such a huge plot.
It might still be.
We've scared the dog once more. Poor dog. He'll get used to it.
A Samara storm swept in, all the fiercer this near the sea. Rain beat his tent like a drum, and then I made a filthy joke when we listened to this. And I'm not gonna repeat it now. Out of that, Narishma stepped into the tent, dripping wet, dark hair plastered to his head.
Really? Sorry. That just sounds like the start of a really sexy scene.
So there's
I don't know why, like a man dripping wet from a storm with a cloak around him is like, that's a porn. That is a porn. Anyway.
There's a person on Twitter who is reading through the series for the first time. Their name is Nil, and their overriding thing is they loved Ingtar so much. And they just got to the introduction of Narishma, and they went, oh, there's a Borderlander Ashaman! And I am so excited for Nil to read this scene. I think Nil's going to love this scene.
Oh, I'm excited for Nil to get here.
Narishma stepped into the tent, dripping wet, dark hair plastered to his head. No flaunting for him.
You know what Nil would have loved?
What?
Narishma, undercover spy, saving women. Anyway, sorry.
Even without bells, near waist-length hair on a man attracted eyes. He wore a scowl, too, and under his arm he carried a cylindrical bundle tied with cord, fatter than a man's leg, like a small carpet, and Rand is like, hey, dick shit. About fucking time, you ass clown. Did anybody else see you?
My God. See, again, Rand deserved to get shot. And I will die on that hill.
So, what took so long? I expected you last night. Narishma goes, it took a while to figure out what I had to do. You didn't tell me everything. You nearly killed me. That was ridiculous. Rand had told him everything he needed to know. He was sure of it. There was no point in trusting the man as far as he had, only to have him die and ruin everything.
Rand deserves to get shot. Again, if I came to him and I was like, hey, so, you fucked up and I nearly died. And he was like, shut the fuck up. No, I didn't. I'd be like, I'm going to shoot you.
This is why on my first read at this point of the books, I couldn't stand Rand.
Honestly, Cerelia and Cadsuane.
That's what I said. Oh, I scared the dog. I went online.
God, so bad.
I went online and I was like, Cerelia and Cadsuane are so right. Rand needs to shut the fuck up. Calm the fuck. Like, I fully sympathize. I get Rand's trauma. I fully sympathize with this. Yes, he is. He's being a pain in the ass.
I think it's a Holden Caulfield question.
I like that. Yeah.
I think that the book series, I've developed this theory over time. I think that whether or not you like fully sympathize with Rand depends on where you are in your life.
Yeah.
Because, and like, whether you think like Moraine, Cadsuane, and Cerelia, whether you're like, fuck you, you don't know my life, mom, or you're like, these are the adults in the situation who are trying to tell you, like, you need to fucking calm down, because if you don't, you are going to continue to get shot at by people who should be on your side.
Who could very easily be on your side.
Yeah, because if you're viewed as just a fucking number to someone, and you know that, you're not going to want to fucking work for them.
Yeah.
Not to mention, please stop laughing to yourself. It's really creeping people out.
So I went online and I was like, oh my God, thank God someone is actually going to be like, do something about this. And the internet was like, you go fuck yourself, man. Like, Rand is doing his best.
I know that Rand is doing his best, but he's fucking up.
Yeah.
We can do our best and also still fuck up.
If I'm doing the dishes and the 3 out of every 5 dishes I accidentally hurl into the wall and someone says, geez, I think somebody might need to intervene, they're right. I think.
Yeah.
I agree that Rand's doing his best. He needs help. He needs to accept help.
I'm trying to come up with like, okay, here's my example. We have a new dog. He is amazing. I'm not an animal behaviorist. Like, I cannot teach him alone the things that he needs to learn to thrive in a society that really looks down on pit bulls.
Yeah.
He needs more guidance than I can give him. Does that make me necessarily like a complete fuck up? No. Same thing. Like, Rand needs more guidance. Rand needs people who are old enough. They've been around for fucking ever.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They
Cerelia and
have
Cadsuane,
been through it.
especially, are old as shit. They have so much wisdom.
And I'm just thinking of myself at like 20 versus myself at even just 30, right? It's a decade difference. But the amount, and, you know, obviously there are people with like really big lived experiences at the age of 20. But I will say, like, there is a very clear difference when your frontal cortex fully develops is as to like the kinds of decisions that I make, right? Since my frontal cortex has developed. And like, since I've turned, since my late 20s, I just feel like I have grown so much. And that's not comparatively a very long time period.
No.
So I just think of like, this is a 20-year-old boy who has been told, like, you're going to save the world. And I was thinking the other day, I was like, I'm really glad that some of the things I've accomplished now, I didn't accomplish earlier, because I don't think I could have handled the responsibility now. Like I have now.
Yeah, no,
right?
I mean, we see this all the time with it's in the performance world, right?
Yeah.
People will get these huge jobs in their early 20s, and if they don't have either like a phenomenally mature head on their shoulders or guidance, it's really hard to take that and move forward with it sometimes. Right. That's not their fault for being young or anything. It's just simply, some things come with experience and with education.
Well, Christy Carlson Romano, who was Kim Possible in Kim Possible, and Ren Stevens and Even Stevens.
Yeah.
She has a podcast now, that's like interviewing other like Disney child stars, and they talk a lot about like what it is to be that young with that much fame and much money. And she's like, I did things where I'm like, I cannot believe like I spent, thousands of dollars on like a big glass egg or something like that. And you're like, because you have no concept of anything at that point, and everyone just says yes to you. And so she's like, so it's honestly no wonder that, child stars really, you see a lot of them really go off the deep end because they just have access to so much everything.
Yeah.
And they're not prepared for it. They're not ready for it. They're not responsible enough. Like, and, if they don't have like a really good set of parents, like even if they do have a really good set of parents, like there's just so much involved.
Yeah. And that can happen anywhere in life. You know, I mean,
I think too much success too young is actually a bad thing.
Oh yeah,
for a lot of people.
I think sudden cataclysmic change in status up or down can be a very hard thing for anybody to deal with. And Rand has gone from...
Well, I mean, like, look at winning the lottery. Like, most of those people, like, lose everything.
Yeah.
Like, they're miserable after
one of
that.
the worst things that can happen to you.
Like, honestly, it is. Powerball. I mean, there's a reason why people, like, go in disguise to pick up the money. Like, put their ticket in. Because it can ruin their lives. Like, if I won the lottery, no one would ever know.
No.
Like, I would never tell anyone. Except for you, obviously.
No, yeah.
But, like, I'd never tell anyone. I'd, like, just try to live as close to what I was living as possible.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like the minute that you have that much money, like, all of a sudden, like, you live on a different planet. So, I think that... Yeah, that, and you just think about it from Rand's perspective. He's 20 years old, suddenly thrust into like this unbelievable amount of power and responsibility, going from like a kid from a podunk town who's like a sheep herder to suddenly ruler of the universe. Like that is not
King of the world had a good ring to it. Remember
normal.
that?
Yeah, that's not normal. So like, I think when you are like a young kid, and this is the Holden Caulfield thing, when I think that you responding to The Catcher in the Rye depends on whether or not you are in a phase that you are like where you relate to Holden Caulfield, or if you are more of an adult.
I read The Catcher in the Rye. We're not going to spoil it too much, even though it's been out for a million years. I read The Catcher in the Rye when I was like 24.
I think it's too old.
And I liked it. I liked it a lot, but I had a very different read on the entire... I was like, this kid is deeply, deeply traumatized and needs therapy.
Well, you're like concerned.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas I read it and like I understood that he was traumatized, but I related to it. Like I was like, yeah, Holden and I are the same.
Sure.
Like I fully identified with Holden as a narrator. I felt like I was going through the exact same things, and the age that I read that at was 15.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I think it depends. And so I'm, again, with the Wheel of Time, I think that the older you are, the less you identify with like Rand and his friends, and the more you identify with the adults in the situation, like Lan, Moraine, Cadsuane, Varen, like these people that are older and just trying to help.
Yeah.
Because like with, my Gen Z sister, there are times where I'm like seeing her falling into mistakes where I'm like, oh, I know what that looks like. And sometimes she listens to me, which is great. And sometimes she doesn't. And then, you just have to kind of like go, all right, well, I tried, and I think probably parents could also identify with that, right? Like, and, being a teacher, same thing. Like you can only protect them so much, and they don't always want to listen to you. And you're like, I can give you the wisdom of experience that if you run in a room with a loose carpet, you are going to fall on your face and then hit your head on a chair, which then eventually happened.
Yeah.
But, that's not, that's also something sometimes you have to learn from experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that they're seeing that Rand is fucking up, but I also understand why Rand can't see it.
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily Rand's fault, because I don't think Rand is old enough to handle everything that's been thrust at him. So yes, Rand is doing his best. His best is not good enough. He needs people to help guide him. He's only 20 years old.
Yeah.
These other people are 100.
They might know a thing
No
or five.
offense, you're gonna probably, if you're paying attention at all and trying to self-improve at all, I mean, I can't say for every 100-year-old they're smarter than a 20-year-old, right? Because some people just don't fucking learn.
Yeah.
But for the ones that are actually trying to develop and learn and are curious and active and engaged, usually the person who's 100 has a little bit more fucking knowledge and experience than the person that's 20.
Yeah. That's usually going to be true.
That doesn't mean that like 20-year-olds don't have a ton to also contribute because they have a different worldview, right? Because also they're the people with more stake in the game, no offense, than someone who's 100.
Yeah.
But like, because that's their future that they're invested in. But like, you know, I think that it is valid and necessary to listen to everybody. But I'm like, Rand's listening to nobody.
Rand is listening to himself.
He's 20 years old.
Yeah.
He's barely an adult.
Yeah.
And he's running the world. Like, he needs help.
He does.
And that's okay. And he also needs to delegate because he's got like
does.
45 different plots in his head.
So on that, we're going to give a quick minute for ads. Welcome back. So Narishma's here. Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Narishma.
Narishma's
nourish
here.
us all. You know what I mean?
Rand goes, get yourself into a proper coat before you join the others. And Narishma, you tell anyone about this, and I will kill you.
Again, Rand deserved to be shot. Rand
is like,
I don't want him to be shot, but he does deserve it.
He does a very sarcastic salute, which is a fist to the chest, and he goes, as you command, my Lord Dragon.
I mean, for real. Like, how else do you respond? Wait, okay, if someone threatens to kill you.
You just did a very hard favor. Whatever this favor was, Narishma thought he nearly died. And then he gets back, he's like, tell him I was gonna fucking kill you. He goes like, well, fuck me, I guess.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I would legitimately, listen, I've had really crap jobs before where I realized that no one gives a shit about me. And do you know what I do instantly when I realize what that is? I immediately start looking for my exit strategy.
Yep.
I immediately go, all right, well, fuck you too.
So there's a bunch of soldiers. The next day, everyone's walking, and Weiramon goes, foot, burn my soul. They're no good, foot. They'll scatter at the first charge. Before.
What is your
And
deal?
Samaradrid is like, where's the pikes? And Rand is like, I love pikes. Anyway, Narishma's package had been rewrapped. It's always a good idea to wrap your package.
You know what?
It's always a good idea to wrap your package.
Be safe out there.
He let Deshiva weave the gateway to take them all away. The plain-faced fellow frowned at him and mumbled to himself. Deshiva actually seemed affronted for some reason, and Gedwin and Rashade, their horses shoulder by shoulder, watched with sardonic smiles.
Quick question. Why would the farm guy be affronted at having to do labor?
Oh, yeah. Why?
Why would he think that this labor is beneath him?
I mean,
Oh my God, Gus, please.
Why not?
Please.
So, they're in some mountains, and the gateway to these mountains, and the guys who are from Ilion are like, oh, it's these mountains. And, Weiramon so everybody else kind of figures out what's going on. They kind of suss it out, but not Weiramon. Because Rand is like, oh, this is a great place to intercept the Shanchan. And everyone else figures it out, but Weiramon doesn't. Weiramon had to have it explained to him fully, and he was upset, though he tried to mask it behind a grand speech about the wisdom of the Lord Dragon and the military genius of the Lord of the Morning, along with how he, personally, would lead the first charge against these Shanchan. A pure bull-goose fool.
My God.
So Rand hates Weiramon so much now. Settling in to wait, Rand thought it would only be another day or so, but as the days stretched out, he began to wonder whether he might be nearly as big a fool as Weiramon.
I'm gonna, real quick, I think that death threats, if that's gonna be a leadership strategy, should be pretty sparing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, that's a last resort kind of thing. Not like a habitual, like, I'm gonna kill you. So, I don't know.
The Ashaman are out looking for dudes, and they come back with all these lords and ladies and people, and so like House Saigon, Kolavir's cousin, is here, and some other people. Eilil Ryotin, Torum Ryotin's sister, Remember Torm Ryden?
Yes.
He's the one who
sucks.
He's the one who was with Caroline Damodred, and he kept like flirting with Caroline Damodred.
Yeah, he kind of sucks,
and
right?
Padden Fane was like his best
yeah,
bro.
he sucks.
He would do anything for his best bro, and the High Lord Sunaman, who is also there, and Torian, and some other people, and so there's all these lords and dudes, and High Lord Torian is so bummed out that there are no serving girls in the camp. Kill him.
Kill that one you can kill and be fine.
And Dalphanes Analin and Amandrid Osielin and Dores. He's just hitting fucking keys on the keyboard now. And Doresin Chuliandred, lords who had supported Colavir's seizure of the Sun Throne when they thought Rand would never return to Kyrian. So all these people come in.
Oh, so fuck them.
and Rand is like, hey, everybody, how we doing? It's time for a party. It's good. Everything's fun. Dog is shaking around. We gotta walk him soon. And then here comes Anayella, a high lady who gave a fair imitation of a beautiful goose brain. Okay, so here comes all these people who have been too long out from under his eye. He could not watch all of them all the time, but he could not afford to let them forget that he did watch sometimes. He gathered them, and he waited. For 2 days. Gnashing his teeth, he waited. 5 days. 8. And then Davram Bashir rolls up, blowing out his thick gray-streaked mustaches. Just like Dira blows out his back. All right.
Sorry. That was funny.
Here he is. He goes, what the fucking hell are we doing here?
What
the
doing
fuck
here?
is happening? I'm so confused. Why are all these dick noses out here? Why these people suck ass? Okay. Why are they here? And what does Rand say?
Rand says, 'cause.
Pretty much, yeah. Rand says, well, like, we're gonna go into battle against the Shanshan. Bunch of fucking people probably gonna die. So I figured, why not kill the people I don't like?
But okay, he does deserve to get shot, but iconic behavior.
Yeah. but more than that, he's like, none of them actually matter to the battle strategy. The entire point of all of these little armies, one, like, yeah, they're gonna want to fight the Shanshan. So like, I can do the Pedron Nile R.I.P. Hey, unify against the rabid bear thing, the cocaine bear in the corner.
Yeah, I guess that is. Yeah, I guess that is what he's doing.
Which is kind of what he's doing.
Listen, Pedron Nile was 90, so he knew
him.
kind of what he was on about.
So fucking smart.
Yes, and when I said that I supported the potential forced retirement of Pedron Nile, I only meant that as an alternative to assassinating him. I didn't, because I'm against killing the elderly.
Yeah.
Not because I think forced retirement is a good thing.
No.
I think that's something shitty companies do.
It's a shitty thing that shitty people do.
Yeah, but white cloaks are kind of shitty people. And I was like, there is a shitty alternative to the arguably, and I think correctly argued,
much shittier thing to do
than
murdering
stabbing
him.
a 90-year-old.
Yeah.
I just think that you also had
if that's your
better
only other option,
yeah,
then maybe the get a watch and get walked out thing, maybe then that's a little better.
That's my argument, is rather than assassinate the elderly,
if that's your only other option,
if it's the other thing, don't force the elderly out of their jobs, but don't assassinate them either.
That's worse.
Yeah,
that's worse.
That is worse, I think.
Yeah.
So anyway, just wanted to say.
Yeah. So Rand is doing that. He's also like, but really, like, all they have to do is keep people distracted and keep them from noticing the Ashaman.
Yeah.
And Bashir is like, you're gonna get just a dangerous game. Feels ominous. But also, like, this is what I love about these chapters. There's a clear fucking goal, and we know what he's fucking trying to do.
He's got a goal.
It's
We're
specific,
fighting
it's
the
achievable,
Shanshan,
it is clearly laid out.
but it will be difficult to achieve.
Yes.
And we know what it is.
I think it's a deadly stew is what I think. Somebody's going to choke to death on it. The lights send it isn't us. And then he laughed, as if that were a fine joke. Luz Theron laughed, too. That's the end of chapter 21.
Next chapter, no, I'm just joking, but next chapter it'll be, Rand's like, you know what, fuck fighting the Shantian. Actually, instead what we're gonna do is...
I want to play bingo! Bingo time! Alright.
It's just 75 pages of Rand gets a dog. Actually, that should happen.
Yeah. Chapter 22, Allie. Gathering Clouds. The logo.
Is that Shantian?
Yeah, it's the item. Haven't seen it.
I've never seen that because usually it's a bug helmet.
No, you saw this in Gathering Great Hunt. They had this in Great Hunt. It's usually the bug helmet. It's kind of funny that it's not the bug helmet this time because it's. I mean, I guess they mentioned Damani briefly.
I want to know how these chapter logos get picked.
I think Harriet.
No, maybe she just felt like mixing it up.
Yes, but it's. I think Harriet. I'm not sure.
All right.
Possibly at this point.
Maybe she
Maria.
felt like mixing it up.
They mentioned Damani. I mean, it's like when they do the Forsaken logo because Grendel is mentioned in a line. You know?
I will say that is... sometimes you go like, ooh, and then you go, oh. But I get also the want to put variety in.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
especially if there's a bunch of chapters.
Yes. Do you have notes, Allie?
I do. Hold on. The Dark One is beating Semirog.
You know, every now and again, he's like, you know where I'm from? The American South.
So I remember first hearing about the devil is beating his wife in college. I think there was like some kind of thing that had come out that was like, what is your regional thing for this? What is your regional thing for that? And it was kind of a study across America, which was kind of fun to see. And see like where certain phrases or idioms are used.
Like highway versus freeway versus expressway.
Yeah.
Or what do you call the thing that is on the mounted to the hallways in schools where you can sip water by hitting a button?
Water fountain.
Yeah, I call it a drinking fountain. And some people call it a bubbler.
Cute.
Yeah.
I like that. See, or do you call it soda or pop?
Yeah. I
or
say pop.
Coke. In the South, it's in some places in the South.
Very specific places in the South.
It's just
only
Coke.
Coke.
Like all sodas are Coke. Whereas, I say soda, you say pop because of where we're from. Things like that.
Some places.
Or how do you pronounce certain words? Like it was a very exhaustive thing. And it was kind of fun to read. And then I remember learning like, they're like, what do you call it when there's like, it's like sunny, but it's raining? And I call it nothing.
Yeah, we don't have a term.
Yeah,
Neither of us had a term for that.
It's raining, but it's sunny. Some people call it a sun shower. Fine.
The plurality, I believe. I think the majority of people who have a term for it call it a sun shower. And then there are certain parts of the South where you go, the devil is beating his wife.
And I respectfully was like, what the fuck? Is that idiom? Like, who, why, when? Lots of questions about that. But sure, I guess. And I guess, where is Robert Jordan from? That he would say...
He's from South Carolina.
He would describe a sun shower as...
South Carolina, but I don't think
but they
I don't know.
Use it.
Some people might. I mean, it's case by case.
But I think the majority of the people who do use it are like in Louisiana, Alabama area.
I think he was aware of it and just wanted to riff on it for some reason.
The Dark One is beating Semirog.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, why Semirog? I'm curious.
Because she's the worst one?
The worst girl?
I don't know.
Have we decided she's worst girl?
No, I mean, Lanfear is the one who gets brought up the most in the first few books.
Yeah, Semirog is scary, like, according to Asmodean, is the scariest girl. Scariest woman.
Yeah. Scary lady.
She's a scary lady. But what a phrase. Am I right? Let's continue.
It's funny that of all the phrases that he decided to, like, completely make up and do completely... He came up with a name for a new type of storm, a Samaro storm. And then he was like, you know what definitely survived the 3,000-year transition?
The devil is beating his wife?
The devil is beating his wife. An incredibly specific regional... Is aphorism the right word?
Is it an idiom?
Idiom?
I don't know.
Yeah.
A maxim?
Thing. That made it through.
that made it through. And thank God it did, really, honestly. I learned that, like, rule of thumb.
There's a bunch of different arguments for what that is from.
Okay, so I don't need to feel bad when I use it anymore?
No.
Necessarily?
There's a lot of different...
Because I've heard it's like, this is the width that you can beat your wife with.
So there are a few things I've heard as the origin of rule of thumb. One of them is if a stick is less wide than your thumb, it's okay to beat your wife with it. One of them has to do with...
No, I do not. Okay.
One has to do with painting. Like you look at something...
Okay.
And then you hold you close one eye, hold your thumb up, and then you move your thumb back to the painting, and that's about how big it has to do with proportion and distance.
Perspective.
One that is incorrect is if you're near a nuclear blast and you calmly hold your thumb up over the mushroom cloud, if your thumb covers the mushroom cloud, then you're safe. That's bullshit. It's not true, and it's not where the phrase came from.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different ones. I think the painting one is the original, but I'm not sure.
I hope so. Because otherwise I feel really bad whenever I say it or someone else says it. I'm always kind of like, I don't know. There's a lot of phrases that have really questionable origins.
This is Wikipedia. The usage of the phrase can be traced back to the 17th century and has been associated with various trades where quantities were measured by comparison to the width or length of a thumb. A modern folk etymology holds that the phrase is derived from the wife-beating stick. This belief may have originated in a rumored statement by 18th century judge Sir Francis Buller that a man may beat his wife with a stick no wider than his thumb. The rumor produced numerous jokes and satirical cartoons at Buller's expense, but there is no record that he made such a statement.
Oh, good.
It first became associated with domestic abuse in the 1970s. What? Okay, but the exact origin is uncertain. It appeared as early as 1685 in print.
Don't strike anyone with anything. How about that?
A posthumously published collection of sermons by Scottish preacher James Durham. Many professed Christians are like to foolish builders who build by guess and by rule of thumb, as we used to speak, and not by square and rule.
Sure.
And then there was Sir William Hope's The Complete Fencing Master. What he doth by rule of thumb, and not by art.
Okay.
So I think it's like nobody knows quite where it came from. Probably not beating people, but it seems like it's like, yeah, I'll give you this much or something. It's about as big as my thumb.
Okay. So I don't have to feel bad saying it.
No.
Okay. Whew. All right. That's good to know from here on out. I will be guilt-free.
I mean, if everybody accepts that it came from beating sticks, but there's no evidence that that's actually where it came from.
Great. Then I absolve myself of worry about it.
More likely than not, this Buller guy, the phrase existed and had existed and then someone attributed it to him. But probably that's not where it's from.
Okay, great. I am back on my listicle bullshit again.
Oh, yes, here we go.
Because I've got conditions that would cause Weiramon to charge. A surprisingly expensive vet bill. Being asked to drive shotgun. A couple telling him they switch sides of the bed each night.
I would charge.
I'm on his side in that one. A wacky inflatable arm man. The sound of pop rocks. A particularly aggressive Duolingo reminder.
Yeah.
And waking up. I would literally drop kick these women complaining about battle. They're like, you're not going to make us go, are you? I'm like, oh my God. this is not a win for feminism right now. We're not doing one for feminism at this moment.
Well, they're not trained.
I mean, that's real.
These are random ladies who are like, we've never held swords before.
I know, but the way they talked about it was irksome. Like, it'd be one thing if you went, you're not going to send untrained people into battle, are you? That would be weird. But instead, they're like, you're not going to send us in a battle, are you? My maid said that it's horrible. Like, that's how they put it, and it was irksome. Sure. And I was like, everyone's a feminist until there is a spider around, to quote Bo Burnham. But at the same time, I also would not want to go into battle, so I also am on their side.
Sure, yeah.
I contain multitudes. Again. Yeah, I would be useless in a battle. I know this, having played video games. A crippling suspicion. I just want to leave. Anyway, and they won't let me go. A crippling suspicion of everyone and everything. Relatable.
Yeah.
Okay, Rand keeps puking, and I went, is Rand pregnant? Plot twist. I don't actually think that. It's just that whenever a woman throws up on screen or in anything, they're automatically pregnant. They're just pregnant every time. Because there's no reason for a woman to puke otherwise.
Like apparently. A bad crab or, No,
like it's never a bad crab. They always go, oh, it must have been a bad crab. And you're like, oh, no, it's not a bad crab. And this is my thing. I know that morning sickness is a thing. It's just like, I don't know. I just feel like men are allowed to throw up in literature, and women, it's like, it's always indicative of pregnancy. Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Only men are allowed to puke in stories without being pregnant. I said this. If a woman pukes, she's pregs, no question. POV shift. Who's this?
Some guy.
It's Sean Chan.
It is Sean Chan.
That is the name of all the Sean Chan that I don't remember from now on. Apologies to anyone actually named Sean Chan. And then I cut off. The channelers are all...
They
who
are.
knows what I was going to say.
Busy.
I think I got distracted by something happening.
Are we going to say Sean Chan or Scene Cheen? Is it like a Sean Bean?
I like Scene Cheen.
Here comes Scene Cheen.
Here's Scene Cheen.
No, we can't do that. All right, so...
But, yes, so this guy whose name as a placeholder is Sean Chan.
It's like Mark.
No, his name is not. It's never Mark. It's Mark.
Acid Bakun.
Acid? No.
It's acid, but yeah.
Acid. Okay.
Acid Bakun. It might be acid. I don't know. It's acid boy.
Acid. Okay.
I don't know. I think it's acid. I'm going to go with acid.
I seem to recall them calling him acid.
Okay, acid.
But we've never called anyone the correct name on this podcast. No, we have not.
So why would we start now? Chapter 22, Gathering Clouds. Rand, how's he?
Poor.
Awful. That's right.
And it could be because, someone insidious is in his brain.
That could be part of it. Could also be...
Well, I just think he's gotten worse lately. Am I wrong?
No, I think he has gotten worse.
And we could attribute that to the box, but it's been a whole book.
He also got stabbed.
That was mostly his fault.
You know what? Yeah, no, it was. He's fucking up left and right.
And this is why, Cat Swain and Cerelia...
God bless him.
Need to, therapy him right now. We got to therapy that boy.
Yeah.
Guide him gently, I hope.
Think they're gonna...
I am worried about how it's gonna be handled.
Under a steady drizzle, Rand's small army formed columns across the low, folded hills facing the Nemerellan peaks, dark and sharp against the western sky. There was no real need to face the direction you intended to travel, but it always felt askew to Rand otherwise. Despite the rain, rapidly thinning gray clouds let through startlingly bright sunshine, or maybe the day only seemed bright after all the recent gloom. So everybody's, we got a bunch of people, and there's every bunch of people, and here's a bunch of people. A lick with the power had polished the dragon scepter's spearhead to mirror brightness, and another had burnished the crown of swords so the gold gleamed. The gilded dragon buckle of his sword belt caught the light, and so did the thread of gold embroidery that covered his blue silk coat. So this is just the cover.
Daryl Sweet and horses.
Loves them. The man can draw a horse
truly
like
can
nobody's
draw-
business.
Yeah, he can draw a horse like a mofo.
And here's this statue on the back. In a minute, we like stop by this statue and just kind of talk about it.
So is it the statue?
This is not the big Terangrial statue. They just like...
But is this the other one?
This is the statue that they're riding, and then they see a statue, and Rand is like, check out that statue. And I think Bashir is like, yeah, man, you know who that's supposed to be is this queen. Wow. And then they talk about it for a while, and they're like, anyway, moving on.
Do you think that has any relevance to what's happening? Or does
Thematic, yes,
Robert
but-
Jordan just want to like show that the wheel wheels is the wheel wheels?
I think it has thematic relevance because it's about once mighty empires that have toppled.
It made me kind of sad.
It is. It's a good passage.
I read this thing the other day. That was talking about how, and this is relevant, I promise, about how this professor at a college was like, can any of you name all of your great-grandparents?
See, I hate this. I think this is shitty. This is a shitty manipulative thing to do.
It made me feel kind of shitty.
But it's a shitty manipulative thing to do. Because it's like...
Well, wait, let me finish and then we can talk about why it's a shitty manipulative thing to do.
Yeah.
Because no one could do it, I guess. And he goes, see, that's how long it takes for you to be forgotten.
I hate that. I think it's stupid, it's manipulative, and it's very small. Because it's like, well, you can't name this specific person that you only know in one context. You might know who your great-great-grandfather is, and you might not know that your great-great-grandfather.
I don't know. It just... but then I was kind of like, well... Joke's on you because my aunt is a genealogist and has been tracing like our whole family back. So I couldn't name them all. So then I texted my parents and was like, what were your grandparents' names? And my mom texted back, why? And I was like, she was like really confused and a little concerned. And I was like, I just wanted to know because I realized I don't know all of them.
I think it's also shitty and small because it's like, you'll be forgotten. And it's like, okay, sure, maybe your name won't be remembered specifically, but the stuff that you do will still matter. And so that premise boils everything down to, but you won't get credit for the things you did anymore. And that can go fuck itself. I think that's really stupid and that's really reductive. And it boils everything down to a claim for yourself, you know? I think it's trash because I think so many things in your life around you, things I can point to in this room, were created by people or invented by people or iterated on by people that I don't know who they are, but I know that somebody made this particular kind of filter coffee basket and it's really useful to me. I don't know who did it. I could probably look it up, just like I could probably look up my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's names. But the fact that I can't name them off the top of my head doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's trivia, you know? And I'm not saying that life is trivia. I'm saying that the need to specifically call up names it's nonsense. It doesn't matter.
I feel you. You know what? Like, I couldn't tell you which of our family members, like, left the potato famine, and immigrated over here.
Yeah, but if they hadn't done that, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And that
so
matters.
I'm really glad they did that.
You know? So, like, their actions matter more than their names.
Yeah.
And their actions have repercussions far past what their names do.
For generations. I mean, there's a reason that, like, generational trauma exists, but there can also be generational other things.
Yeah.
Generational good.
You told me that thing, and I just got really mad, and I couldn't figure out why until just now.
Well, I got kind of mad, too, but I couldn't put my finger on why either, because I'm like, well, that's assuming that the only thing that matters is that people that you remember have notoriety.
Yeah, which is fucking stupid, and frankly... ridiculously self-centered and incredibly American. It is.
That is true.
It's this stupid fucking idea of American exception. And I'm getting over my head here. It's this idea of exceptionalism and you have to matter more. And if you specifically don't stick out, you won't be remembered. You know who everybody remembers? Stalin.
Yeah.
You know who everybody remembers?
Yeah.
Horrible people.
Yeah.
And also great people. Right? And you know who else who isn't known very widely? The people who made like the fucking very specific pieces of code that run the entire internet. They are not notorious. They are not well known, a lot of them, because there's a joke online that like half the people who keep the internet and the world of technology afloat are Bill Gates, and half of them are people named Ronald who run a tool called Runk, which stands for Ronald's Universal Number Counter with a K, and that's responsible for all the math that's done online. And they have maintained it on a Patreon in their basement for their entire lives. Does it fucking matter that nobody knows who Ronald is? Because Ronald knows who Ronald is, and Ronald has made the internet possible.
Well, yeah, I guess the argument to be made is that like the impact that you
That's
have,
not a real thing, by the way.
the impact that you have in your lifetime in like, well, it's the Wonderful Life thing.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like the movie It's a Wonderful Life, and this is so funny where this is going, but this all relates back to something that Dr. Bashir says about the statue. The It's a Wonderful Life thing where it's like, does it matter more that you are like this big name that everybody like, that, and you're incredibly wealthy and like have accomplished, in quotes, a lot? Or is a simple life that has impacted your entire community, is that enough? Is that like better in a lot of ways?
Yeah.
Yeah. That regardless of whether or not we remember George Bailey, right? Without George Bailey,
A trillion other things bad.
Horrible things would have happened.
Yeah.
Right? Without your ancestors, you wouldn't be here. Without, the decisions that they made has impacted your entire life. So like the sum of your life now is what matters.
Yeah. And I gotta ask, like, what fucking professor, what is the point? What is the point? Is this a business? It sounds like business school. Depending on what you're going for, in a vacuum, it sucks.
That's true. Like, we don't actually know what the context. We don't know what the point is.
But
so like, let's not roast him or her. I actually don't know too hard. But I mean, I do think it's important though, at the same time, I do think it's important in a way to, it made me, my takeaway was that it is kind of important to be a little bit invested in your heritage and where you come from, though.
Sure.
At the same time.
That's true. There's nothing wrong with that.
And I was like, oh, you know what? I have neglected a part of this, like, understanding of my heritage. So I sat down with my aunt when she was visiting my mom, and we were visiting too. And I kind of like had her kind of walk me through what she had discovered. And she was really excited to do it because it's something she's been really passionate about. And it was a really interesting conversation.
Yeah.
So I do think it's worth it to like investigate your background and learn about your family. But so that's, that I think was the positive takeaway for me. But I think then, yeah, I think that you're 100% dead on that. Yeah, you might not be remembered. And
who the fuck cares?
You'll be remembered by the people who
are you gonna know?
Close to you.
Are you gonna know?
Well, it's like one of those things when I was a kid, I was so anxious about like the heat death of the universe that I would never see, right? Because I was like worried about like my corporeal form rotting in the ground.
Oh no, you're not gonna fucking know.
I know. I'm like, first of all,
I'm just like,
I'll be cremated, and second of all, I won't know. I won't be here.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go off on this whole thing.
Yeah, but no. The only reason we went off on this whole thing is because Daddy Dav says pretty much the same thing, where there's this statue of this woman, and he goes into her history and who she was, and then he goes, but most people don't know who she is, and that's the nature of life. You get forgotten. And I'm like, I mean, I guess. But you seem to know her story pretty well, sir. Also, it's like, what? Oh, I gotta pee on everything so everybody knows I was here. Even if you don't, did you have fun while you were? I don't know. I just think that prioritizes the wrong thing. That mindset prioritizes the wrong thing. You know what, Gus? You might have just done more for me than my therapist has done in 10 years just at this conversation, because you're right. Like, why the fuck does it matter? There's nothing wrong with wanting that. Yeah. Isn't the summation of like your day-to-day more important? I just think if you spend your entire life making sure you're remembered, and then you like, okay, great, now I can die because I'll be remembered. What the fuck were you doing? What were you here? Why were you here? Did you have breakfast with your partner? Damn, Gus. Because I did, and it was great. I had a great time. Will I remember that breakfast specifically? Probably not. That is something I've been struggling with lately, is that like all of these wonderful days that we spend together, like most of it, I don't get to remember. And isn't that great? Isn't that kind of wonderful? That there are so many wonderful mornings that you can't pick one out. Isn't that better? I don't know, man. Like, now I'm getting all misty. I'm sorry. Again, over one like line in this book, but wow. Yeah. I mean, I guess you're right. I just
whatever. Anyway.
No, I mean, no, not whatever. I think that's really great. Like the things that matter are like the connections that you're here to make. Like the organic like experiences that you're here to have.
And I think it works both directions too. If you're too focused on what you're going to leave behind, that's not great. If you're too focused on, oh my God, I forgot what we had for breakfast 2 weeks ago, you're not going to remember, you're not going to notice having breakfast today. The only thing that exists is now. The future doesn't exist. Past doesn't exist. It's gone. And it's not here yet. The only thing that exists is now. You can plan for the future, by all means. I'm not saying just sit with your thumb up your ass. You can care for the past, by all means. But the only thing that actually exists is right now. So if you're not living there, what are you doing?
Have you ever considered, like, becoming a professional speaker? That was really profound for me to listen to. I don't know if anybody else felt that way.
No, I don't. I do.
But I do think that there is like maybe it's an American thing, but like there is this like compulsion to like make an impact, you know, and really impress people. And maybe I also just come from a family where it's like, we want to be impressive. You know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes I get really wrapped up in that. Do you know what I mean? Wanting to be so impressive and so accomplished. And so like, you know, that I realize sometimes that I neglect other important things in my life, like my health. Yeah. Like my, you know, friends, you know, sometimes because I'm like so focused on how hard I work.
Yeah. That's a thing that, you know, I have problems that way too.
Yeah.
I'm talking all these ideas. I don't live by them all the time because I'm not fucking perfect.
Not
to say that it's perfect to do that, but
I don't know, man.
Oh, stop.
You're pretty perfect.
No, I'm not.
But yeah, wow. Yeah. So then Davram says, you know, that's the nature of things. You can do all these great things and still be forgotten.
And I think it
basically
makes perfect sense in the context of this because of Rand's journey. And the fact that Rand will be remembered no matter what, but also the cyclical nature of time. Everyone's going to forget what Rand does.
Right. Well,
Rand, the fucking most important person in the universe, canonically, no one's going to remember him.
Well, I mean, even the people that we might view as like, how could anyone not ever know their name, right? Like Shakespeare, Albert Einstein, like people where we're like, these are people everyone would know.
Yeah.
Right? Theoretically. I mean, you know, I'm sure that people thought that about plenty of like poets and scholars and stuff. And then the Library of Alexandria burnt to the ground.
Yep.
It's like Arcadia all over again.
It's a great play.
It's a great
Tom
play, but we
Stoppard.
talk about how like knowledge gets lost and then found and then
again.
lost and then found, and none of us
found.
actually own it.
And here's the thing. I think Rand is hearing all these things about these people who do all this great stuff. I think Rand would much rather be living in a fucking farm on the outskirts of the two rivers with his fucking sheep.
Rand wants to be George Bailey.
Rand absolutely wants to be George Bailey.
And that's Rand's tragedy.
Yeah. He would love to do that. Yeah?
And you know, it's so funny because then you have his foil, Egwene, who wants to be great.
Yep.
And people aren't letting her be that.
Yep.
That's
she's taking it for herself, and good for her.
She's taking it. But I think she might realize at some point that, like, there's a cost to being that.
Might be.
Right?
Yeah, it might be.
Could be. Well, and I think Rand also, when we're thinking about this from, like, the Vietnam War perspective, and I'm sorry, I'm, like, going on so many tangents, but this is kind of interesting.
Again, what happens in this chapter?
And every time I apologize for going on tangents, people are like, no, do it. So, fine.
If they wanted to recap, they'd listen to the book.
That's true. But I think what's also interesting is, like, if you come at it from the perspective of, like, Robert Jordan was imbuing this book, whether or not he did it on purpose, but I think he did, with, like, his feelings about the Vietnam War. Like, so much of it was, like, taking these boys from these towns and sending them somewhere to do things that were far beyond their maturity level.
Men will literally write a 4.4 million word series before they go to therapy.
But, you know, like, I mean, plucking these boys.
I don't know if Robert Jordan went to therapy. It wasn't meant to be an insult.
I mean,
it was a joke.
But so often, you know, like, we go to these small towns and things like that. Like, I remember we went to this, like, tiny island in Greece when we were there for our honeymoon. And all of a sudden, you know, there's a little memorial plaque of, like, soldiers from this island that had been, like, taken, that had gone and fought
for one or the other world war.
In one of the world wars. and just like a little memorial to those that went and passed away. And it was like, 5 people.
Yeah.
But you just think like, I mean, you live in this tiny island or this tiny town, and you're just, a young kid, and then you get plucked from that potential obscurity and sent to do something that is like huge.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of mirrors
Absolutely.
that for sure.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
No, yeah. I think personally,
I thought we were going to really gloss over the statue thing, but
it's the cover of the book. It's a good. I think the best thing you can do is leave the world a better place than you found it. And if nobody knows who you are, who cares? You left the world a better place than you found it. Even if you just pet a dog, like that one over there.
I did do that.
You're doing it right
times
now.
Today.
Many
times I pet this dog. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're so focused on like being. It was interesting. Like I was looking at, different movements and stuff, and it was like there's this post about like, we don't need more people trying to be leaders. We need people who are like passing out flyers. We need those people. Those are the people who are actually going to make a difference. It's not the like, I mean, certainly the leaders of these things make a difference, but like they would be nothing without the people on the ground.
Yeah.
Doing the work that needs to be done, doing that grunt work. And getting people invested and involved.
Well,
and that was really interesting to me.
Yeah. I mean,
because I think so often we want to be the one that's like, I'm the leader, I'm the visionary, I'm the this. Maybe not everybody, but maybe that's just a me thing.
I think there's another thing. Sometimes, particularly when you're in the arts, you're talking to people and, they may be somewhat dismissive of your pursuit of the arts, and maybe they'd say something like, oh, you're studying performance? Well, the world needs ditch diggers too. They do.
They do.
You're goddamn right the world needs ditch diggers. Where would we be without fucking ditch diggers? Where would we be without plumbers?
Screwed.
We'd be fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I've just lost my mind today.
Well, it's this idea that like,
you have to be the number. Why?
Yeah, that people's value is based on their output, like
or claim. Claim.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
Yeah,
doesn't hurt necessarily. It can.
Well, and that's the thing is if you are a person that gets addicted to like external validation, right? And I think it is something you can get addicted to.
Oh yeah,
like external validation, praise, accomplishments, acclaim, right? I think that it's a path that drives people crazy, like legitimately crazy. It's an addiction that people have where they like throw away so many parts of their life to seek external validation.
Yep.
So anyway, I identify with what Davern said because it's like a nice reminder that like nothing matters but right now, like you said.
So, chapter 22.
Chapter 22.
Rand, there's Bashir's Saldeans, and then there are a blue-coated men with the dragon on their chests, commanded by a short, stocky fellow named Jack Mason. When Mason moved, it was always with surprising quickness. His men were in place, and so were the defenders and companions, grumpy about being behind infantry. All right,
Isn't that where you go? Well, okay. I guess not.
Anyway, so...
Are they making a phalanx? Or
Probably.
I knew it.
That
is the only
Rand
move.
is watching the nobles flail around.
I just thought how funny would it be if there was like a phalanx versus a phalanx, and so they were just like bumping into each other.
That's what they would... I think that's what they would do.
They do like mutual phalanxes?
Some-
I thought it was just like one group does that formation and the other group's fucked.
I don't know enough about ancient war tactics. I know the Romans and or Greeks loved phalanxes, and a lot of the people...
Spartans did.
Greeks.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the people they were fighting were just like, charge! I think you could very easily have two phalanxes crashing into each other.
I just think that'd be really funny, because it'd be like, boop. Like, not funny in the moment, but like...
I assume that no plan survives first contact with the enemy, right? People start getting stabbed and falling in the phalanx.
People panic.
people maybe not panic, but you gotta adjust to cover that. You trip over a body, everything else eventually falls apart.
Yeah. It's just like any theatrical production. Even the best planned one, something goes awry.
Something goes wrong. So Gedwin and Rashade sat their saddles. By the way, what do you think about, we kind of talked about this, about these new sub-Mahales that...
I don't trust him.
Yeah, it's great. It's good fun.
I don't trust him at all. I am jokingly Gedwin's number one fan. I think he's probably a bad guy. I think it is a joke. But yeah, I think he's probably gonna betray Rand in a real big way at some point. I think Tower is fucked. Like, Rand has completely... Moiraine would never have let him not go there.
No. Rand's looking around at the Ashima and he's like, damn, a lot of 15-year-olds out here. Anyway.
Thank God it's not women, though.
Oh, boy.
Am I right, Rand? Adult women with agency? God forbid, a 40-year-old fight, 40-year-old woman.
He's got that Narishma's package strapped to his horse.
I'd rather a 5-year-old boy fight in a battle than a fully grown woman, to be honest.
He's got Narishma's package strapped to his horse, and he's like, there's that thing. All right, so...
For those of you just joining, that was sarcasm.
That was a joke, the thing Allie said. And then we get a lot of time talking about the Dark One is beating Semirog, and we're gonna skip it.
Thank God that survived the multiple apocalypses that have occurred. My favorite thing right now is Rand's unbelievable hatred for Weiramon.
He hates him so much. Weiramon...
It's so funny to me every time. He just roasts and toasts him in his head.
Walks up to
constantly.
Rand. The Saldean seems to believe I should ride on the right flank. And the foot, my lord dragon, really? I think you should get your men ready, or you won't be on any flank. As my lord dragon commands.
Now, here's the thing. I think he's got to be tough, right? Rand's got to be tough. But there's a point at which, he also can't necessarily afford to piss these people off.
That one I'm okay with.
This one I'm okay with.
Here's the thing. Narishma, this guy who I sent on this very dangerous mission, who did it for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to threaten to kill him.
See,
Weiramon, who I hate, I'm going to command around. Narishma, who could level a city with his head, probably.
Yeah.
He's fine. Fuck him. Weiramon, love that guy. Even though I hate him, I'm going to be as nice as I... Look, I get it. I know. I understand. It's Luz Theron. It's men who can channel. It's everything else. I just think this is the inconsistency is funny. In character.
I mean, he was mean to Weiramon. He just didn't threaten to kill him.
Weiramon is also being a dickhead.
He is trying to also get Weiramon killed, kind of lightly.
A little bit.
So, I guess with Rand, if he threatens to kill you, that's a positive sign. Because if he actually wanted you dead, he'd just plot it.
He nearly killed Perrin that one time because he was like, damn, got a little upset when I yeeted Perrin across the fucking room. Sure, I'm glad I didn't slaughter my best friend.
Again, I feel like that was just too much. If I had gotten yeeted across the room, I would have sent a quick text being like, hi, that was too much acting.
So Lady Eilil and High Lady Aniela come up, and Eilil goes, my lord dragon, I must make one more protest against my inclusion in this expedition. I will send my retainers where you command, and when... But I have no desire at all to be in the thick of a battle. And then Aniela goes, oh no! Nasty things, battles. So my master of the horse says. Surely you won't really make us go, my lord dragon. We've heard you have a particular care for women.
See,
haven't we, Eilil? And Rand is like, how the fuck did you know about that? Who the fuck knows about that? What? Who told you?
See... First of all, this pisses me off so much. Because I'm just like... My women, we need, you know what? I will take the garbage cans back in and be seen doing it a couple times because I just like the victory for feminism. Whenever I drive and you are the passenger princess, I feel like a little victory for feminism.
Yeah.
I do. I feel it every time. I'm like, and it feels nice. And I just need them. I understand that they're untrained and they should not be in a battle situation. Absolutely not. I would not want to be in a battle either. Battles are scary and gross. But I would ask to not be a part of it in a chill way, where I'd be like, hi, I will not be helpful. Could I sit this one out?
I'll
do all. Yeah, she was fine. The other one pissed me off to no end. I was
Aniela.
like, get a spine. Get it together. So that was one thing, because I was like, feminism's on the line. And the other thing is, the other thing that is hilarious to me about this whole exchange is that Rand is like, how do they know about the women? Well, first of all, you say things out loud all the time without realizing it. So I'm sure like Weiramon might be aware that you're planning his death. And I'm also sure that you say that list of women out loud to yourself like all the time. And also like, I don't know, when all the people die, you go over and look at every woman in front of everyone to see their face. So they might think, well, he's not doing that with the penis havers. So perhaps
The bedicked.
yeah. And there's only two things we could take from this. One, he has like a weird soft spot for women in a way that's like unhealthy. What?
Yeah.
Or two,
That's really it.
that's really it. So it's not like you've been subtle about it. You've been pretty obvious. You get very upset when women die. You also don't let the maidens go anywhere, even though they're trained murderers
Yeah.
who can torture people.
Yeah, and again, we had such a wonderful point at which we could have just made a maiden's exception when Sulin threatened to kill herself over it. But he's like, okay, I'll do the bare minimum. Fine.
They all threatened to kill themselves, didn't they?
Sulin is the one who was
like, I'm going to kill myself.
Like, I'll break my spears and kill myself, and then she will, and we'll go down the line until you're ready. And his response was not, wow, I hear what you're saying, so much as it was, I will do the bare minimum to keep you guys from committing ritualized mass suicide. I love Rand. I love him, but buddy...
Why did it take ritualistic mass suicide for you to realize that women can fight in a battle? Like, I feel like I would have seen what they can do.
You know?
Well, I mean, if you think about like the Tigraine scene in the frickin' show.
Yeah, oh my god.
If you think about that scene in the frickin' show, I would have seen... Rand has been in battle with the maidens several times, so he's seen them do that shit in front of him. That would have been kind of all it took for me to go, yeah, that's fine. Instead of being like, I'm going to put a pimply kid in there instead. You know what I mean?
So Rand is like, what? I mean, yeah, like a little bit, you know, sort of. But that's why I want you nearby so I can keep an eye on you. You want to go hang out at the Black Tower? You'd be safe there.
No, they would not.
And they're like, no. We'll be good. And then I stops and looks at him and goes, my brother Torum is impetuous, my Lord Dragon, even rash. I am not.
I like her.
Which I think is a way to say, I know what you're doing.
I know you're trying to get us all killed.
You do not need to, please don't do that. I think that
was a really good way to ask that.
And then Aniela just like...
Unlike the dumbass next to her.
Aniela like wiggles her ass at him and walks away.
Oh my god. And... This woman is a nightmare. She's embarrassing us. You reflect the brand.
So we start making the Ashaman start making gateways, and Lou's there and goes, kill them! They're too dangerous to live! And Rand's like, just shut up, dude.
Honestly.
You're like Cormac McCarthy talking about young people.
But here's the okay. But I think he's not wrong about some of them, though. I think that there is trouble afoot, and when we get to 3 books from now, it might pay off.
Maybe. You tell I just read No Country for Old Men?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a great book. Love that book. Love reading Cormac McCarthy's stuff. He's brilliant. Brilliant writer. Some of his stuff is a little bit like, okay, all right. All right,
He's a brilliant writer.
He is. Okay, you know, gateways. Rand is worried he's coming down with what Nynaeve had called the dreads. A kind of madness, a crippling dark suspicion of everyone and everything.
Okay.
There'd been a Coplin, Benley, who thought everybody was scheming against him. He'd starved to death when Rand was a boy, refusing to eat for fear of poison.
Okay, again. Therapy needs to be invented.
So...
Like, isn't it wild that before therapy, people were just like walking around with these horrible depression, anxiety, and like
just like, well,
personality
sounds like they
disorder,
need to get over
all
it.
this shit. And they were like, get the fuck over it. Here's some speed. Like, do you know how easy it was for housewives to get speed back in the day?
Extremely.
All they had to do was walk into the doctor and go, I'm a little tired sometimes. And the doctor would be like, cool. I saw a stand-up comedian talk about this, like, today. And she said that. And I was like, you're so right, though. It's so wild.
We go through the thing, and they're in Altara, and then the Ashaman could travel short distances without first memorizing the ground they left from, and cover ground far faster than riding. So remember how we had that very specific restriction on how gateways worked?
Yes.
Yeah, I support Robert Jordan's decision in doing this. Yeah, that's not a thing in this case.
Okay. So.
Yeah, so you can gateway like 10 miles, no problem.
Now, here's the thing. And I mean this with the most love in my absolute heart for everyone. I feel like there are people out there who might be like, this was planned all along. This is just an extension of his genius. Yes, Robert Jordan was a wonderful writer and excellent, but as a fellow writer, he needed a loophole for plot reasons.
Put one in, and it's fucking great, and now we have it.
Writers can also be people who are like, fuck, I really need a loophole right here.
We need to be able to spread out across the countryside really quickly.
Yeah.
You can travel short distance. Well, yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
It's good.
We don't have to be infallible, like we've said.
Brandon Sanderson has a guy whose entire job is to keep track of the lore and the magic.
Yes.
And like tell Brandon when things are possible and when they aren't.
Wow.
And then sometimes Brandon can just go like, okay, Peter, that's great. I don't care this time. So we need to find a way to make it possible.
And that's real.
Great.
And that's real. And that should happen. Like, if there's something so awesome, I don't really
who cares?
care.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you can make it, you can justify it a little bit. Like, a little bit, I will be happy.
The favorite thing is Sanderson in particular openly will be like, he will reach out to the people who keep these repositories of community information and be like, I don't like the way I implemented this cornerstone magic thing. It's gonna change. And the explanation in World will be, and then it changed. Got it? Like, there's a whole thing in Mistborn where if you, without getting too specific, you can get like too good at a certain thing and it starts having weird side effects.
Wow.
And after he implemented this for a while, he kind of ran to the logical conclusion. He was like, this is overpowered and broken and it doesn't work and it shouldn't be like this. So he's just kind of went like, anyway, that'll be different. Just cause.
Anyway.
And you can fucking do that.
Yeah, because you're a writer. It's your world.
It's not real.
It's not real.
So
I cannot emphasize that enough. It is not real.
So everybody starts coming out of the gateway. Here comes Bashir, and he's like, no Shanshan here, it seems. And, okay, and Rand is stressed out and having a terrible time. He doesn't trust anybody, but he's like, I hope I don't have the dreads. Narishma seemed like he was pretty chill, though. It had been a mad risk, whatever it was. You think it's getting Kalendor.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, we're going to keep it a capital O ominous for now.
You know what I enjoy? I feel like I have this weird parasocial relationship with Robert Jordan at this point where I'm like, you did that directly to troll me, didn't you?
The answer is no.
But also, yes, it is in my head.
Yeah.
Like, because I think every now and then he was like, people are going to think this is a big thing. And I'm gonna fuck with him.
Maybe it won't be.
I think he was a cheeky person in this way. And you ruined my life. No.
So here's the statue, and Bashir talks about it. A queen of Shiota, I'll wager. Not older. I saw a statue made in a heron once, and it was so worn you couldn't say whether it was a man or a woman. A conqueror, or they wouldn't have shown her with a sword. And I seem to recall Shiota gave a crown like that to rulers who expanded the borders. Maybe they called it the Crown of Swords, eh? A brown sister might be able to tell you more. And Rand is like, I don't fucking actually care.
Let Daddy Dav share his fun fact.
I expect thousands cheered her, called her the Hope of Shiota, maybe even believed she was. In her time, she might have been as feared and respected as Arthur Hawkwing was later. Now even the Brown sisters may not know her name. When you die, people begin to forget who you were and what you did or tried to do. Everybody dies eventually, and nobody's forgotten. And everybody is forgotten. Eventually, there's no bloody point dying before your time comes. And Rand is like, shut the fuck up.
Davram, are you having a wee midlife crisis?
Well, he's like, hey, Rand, please don't get yourself killed. We need you alive at the last battle. And Rand is like, I will die when I'm goddamn good and ready.
Word.
I've got it penciled in. I've seen Night Mother. All right.
Oh my god.
That is a depressing play. Don't look it up. All right. So Rand hauled Tidashar around because this is fun. This happens, and then Egan Pedros or whatever his name is like, time to kill this guy. And Rand does. Remember all those times where it was like a single arrow could kill you?
Not this time.
Not this time.
Okay, but I'm on Egan's side. I'm on Egan's side.
Rand grabs Sidene and he feels extremely sick. And
like, I don't want Rand to die. I just understand why Egan did this.
And these guys kill Egan Pedros.
Oh no.
And then the Ashaman blow him the hell up. And Rand pukes everywhere. And
again, we're serving the exorcist over here.
And then he goes down and he's like, well, he's charbroiled. Oh, look, it was Egan Pedros.
I liked him, but never told him that.
Here's a fun thing, Al. Rand gets there pretty quickly. Roshade was on his knees, calmly searching through the corpse's torn, blood-stained coat. The dead man had a blackened hole as big as his head all the way through his chest.
My favorite thing is Rand's like, maybe he's still alive so we can question him.
It was Egan Pedros. His sightless eyes stared at the sky in surprise. Gedwin ignored... So
yikes.
Gedwin and Roshade got there immediately.
Okay, suspicious.
I mean, maybe? I don't know, man. Could be a little suspicious.
I'm suspicious of both of those, too. I've been suspicious since they arrived. I'm like, why would Mazzy Pizzazz want to send some of his guys to hang out with Rand? What do you think, Gus? I think Mazzy Pizzazz is a baddie. I do. I think somehow he is bad. And then Logain will be good, and then we'll have a good magic man and a bad magic man.
And then Roshade, who has been going through his stuff, goes, holy shit! And he grabs a bag and he dumps it on the ground. He's like, 30 Tarvalin marks? Look at that. He's definitely from the White Tower.
That is... so fucking... Wait, why did I not pick up on this before? That is so fucking suspicious.
It's a little suspicious.
It's a lot suspicious. It's super suspicious.
And then he, like, throws one at Rand, like, check these out. And Rand is like, it's a common currency.
So your plan did not work.
I don't know, bro.
That is... No. I'm getting bad vibes. I will not be tricked again. This is no Leandrin. I am on to these two.
And we're like, all right, let's go. To the east, black clouds were building among the peaks. Another Cimaros storm. This time it was the creator is, I don't know.
Shucking some corn.
I don't
know.
The creator is eating an oyster. I don't know. I'm just thinking of some other weird fucking phrase we could do for weather.
The creator is shucking and fucking.
Oh, God. And then we switch perspective to Asid Bakun. Okay, so here's Asid Bakun. He's great. During 30 years in the ever-victorious army, he'd made hundreds of camps. He would as soon have felt pride in walking across a room without falling down. Nor did he feel pride in where he was. 30 years serving the Empress, might she live forever, and while there'd been the occasional rebellion by some mad upstart with eyes on the crystal throne, the bulk of those years had been spent preparing for this. For 2 generations, while the great ships were built to carry the return, the ever-victorious army had trained and prepared.
Just 2 generations?
Yeah.
That's not a very long time.
Bakun certainly had been proud when he learned he was to be one of the Forerunners. Surely he could be forgiven dreams of retaking the land stolen from Arthur Hawkwing's rightful heirs, even wild dreams to completing his new consolidation, capital C, before the Corene came. Not such a wild dream after all, as it had turned out, but not at all the way he'd imagined. So a bunch of Terrabonners come back, because the Shan-Chan is just like, hey, y'all good to work for us? And everyone was like, I guess.
Yeah.
You have nukes.
I mean, here's the thing. They're bad.
Yeah, what? Are you suggesting to me that the empire that leads by dint of we will nuke you with your women and also enslave you? Are you suggesting to me that they're bad guys?
We could have a daughter, right? If we lived in the Shan-Chan place, we could have a daughter. At any point, if she is able to do anything magical, she could just be taken away and you'd never see her again.
Yeah.
These people are bad. And it's random. It's random whether or not your daughter can channel.
Yep.
These people are bad.
So Bakun is like, fuck these shitbag non-Shan-Chan people. Barbarians. He doesn't say barbarians, but I mean, it's a similar concept to Rome a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. I'm probably wrong. He's like, no, whatever. So, he's like, fuck these Terrabonners. Descendants of thieves.
Okay. I truly don't think that your culture has a leg to stand on at all, considering you enslave women.
Bakun rolls over to the Suldam tent. The Damani are doing bad. Oh god, this is awful. The grey-clad Damani sat at their feet with Nerith braiding her pale hair, talking to her as well, all of them joining in and laughing softly. The bracelet on the end of the silvery Idam's leash lay on the ground. Bakun grunted sourly. He had a favorite wolfhound back home and even talked to him sometimes, but he never expected Nip to carry on a conversation. Allie is making the most horrified face.
What?
You do not remember? The Damani are treated as animals.
I wouldn't even treat my animal that way. My dog and I have many conversations. I love him so much. My cats and I are besties. What? I would never... I can't even think of what, I would think of in that way. Do you know what I mean? I like my plants, too.
I treat my computer better than that.
I like my plants a lot. I'm, very nice to them. I talk to them sometimes, too. I'm, very attached to them. One of them, their leaves have started yellowing a little bit, and it made me really concerned. I can't think of what I would... Maybe garbage. I would treat garbage this way, maybe.
So Nira, he's like, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? Why doesn't it work? Why isn't it working? And Nerith is like, oh, I think she's good now. It's probably fine. The Damani was trembling. Bakun grunted again. Something had been wrong back in Abu Dar, and not just with this Damani. The Suldam had all been tight-lipped as clams, and the blood would not say anything. Oh, wow, I missed an opportunity to do the Shan-Chan accent.
No!
All right, whatever. Not to the likes of him, but he'd heard too many whispers. They said the Damani were all sick or insane. Light he'd not seen a single one used around Abu Dar once the city was secured, not even for a victory display of skylights. And who'd ever heard the like of that? Well, I hope he began, and cut off as Arakin appeared. And it drops a letter, and Bakun is like, oh, don't drop the fucking lead ball on my men, you assholes. Because they dropped the letters by dropping a streamer attached to a lead ball, and they just dropped it in the middle of the camp, and he's like, fuck you guys. I hate everybody who isn't me.
Valid.
And he goes, gets the message tube, and he reads the message. He goes, "There's a force not 10 miles east of here, 5 or 6 times our number. No reason to think they know we're here, but I'd not mind a few reinforcements." And Tiras, his message guy, goes, "We'll give them a brush with the Damani, and that'll be that if they outnumber us by 20 times. And Bakun goes, "And if they have a few Aes Sedai?" And Tiras is like, "Oh, I hear they have tactical nuclear bombs now." By the way, why are all the Damani feeling weird?
Oh, it's the bowl.
The bowl.
The bowl.
Do you think that this will have a significant long-term repercussion?
Do I think that?
I mean, because it appears that it's affecting all of the channelers in this area.
It could or it could not. You know what I mean? Because I think it could be like also just something that will dissipate.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like everyone's affected. I mean, maybe if it sticks around, but I kind of envisioned it as something that like kind of exploded outward and then will like dissipate.
Sure. I just figured, my first read at this point, I was like, oh, so like, are we in a...
Did they like do something?
Is this like a you can't use magic zone? Like, did we break it?
I don't think so. I think maybe like temporarily.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like
Could this
forever.
also be part of why Rand is getting sick? Could it be exacerbating the problem?
No, it's Moradin.
All right.
It could be. Sure. I'm open to that. If that's the explanation, then that's the explanation. But I think it's something bigger.
So he sends a message back, I think for reinforcements. And he's like, hell yeah, time to get killing. He had missed the last battles of the Consolidation by 200 years, but some of those rebellions had not been small. 2 years fighting on Mirandalar, 30,000 dead, and 50 times that shipped back to the mainland as property.
See, Bro. Sir.
Taking notice of the strange kept a soldier alive. Ordering the camp struck and all signs of it cleared, he began moving his command to the forested slopes. Dark clouds were massing in the east. Another of those cursed storms coming. That's ominous as fuck, and I love it. That's the end of chapter 22.
On the same page and go. Slavery is bad. It's bad.
It's not good. In any context, it's always bad.
It's a big no for me.
It's just bad.
It's a no.
Indentured servitude, also bad.
Also bad.
It's bad.
It's a bad thing.
It's a little tiny bit better than slavery, but that's not saying much.
Humankind invented it. We did a bad. We did a bad as a human collective.
Anyway, that's the How you excited? Do you think that we're going to get into this battle now? Or are we going to go hang out with Perrin? Catch up. Hear the news. What's going on with my man? What do you think? What's next?
I don't know. He hasn't been really around.
No, he is not.
But why are you asking about Perrin?
I'm asking you, are we about to get into this?
Get into the battle?
Yeah, or are we going to wait until next book?
I hope we're getting into the battle. We're getting close to the end.
We are.
Like, there's not really much time. We gotta something.
Yeah.
We gotta do something. We gotta drive to the end of the book somehow.
Less than 200 pages left in this sub.
Well, I'm guessing that we're getting into the battle because there's a Sean channel.
Well, you're right. There is. That's true.
I'm gonna guess yes.
The next chapters are called Fog of War, Storm of Battle, and A Time for Iron. And
I'm also suspicious because you're having us do a live reaction of one of the chapters.
Eventually, I'm not sure when we're going to be able to do that.
After I get back from my trip.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Thanks for listening, everyone. We have social media. If you want to know what we've got going on, it's down below. If you want to support us differently, we have a Patreon. You can support us there. You can always leave us a rating and a review, which helps a lot. Anything else, Allie?
I'm on Egan's side.
Thanks for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again for listening. This was Wheel Takes with Ali and Gus. Music by Alexander Nakarada.